At this point in the story, something starts to feel off. Not in a debunking way. Not in a this can't be true way. More like the narrative keeps pointing to something nobody ever explains directly. A subtext, a repeated emphasis, a quiet drumbeat underneath everything Jesus says and does. And that drumbeat is this. He keeps insisting the extraordinary is normal, not rare, not reserved, not divine privilege, normal. And once you notice that, the entire New Testament begins to read like it's written in a double language. There's a reason Jesus repeatedly uses phrases like, according to your faith, your belief has made you whole. If you have faith, nothing will be impossible. He doesn't say, my power has done this. He doesn't say, behold my divine authority. He redirects the cause every time. It's almost like he's trying to show something we've forgotten how to see. That the line between inner state and outer world isn't as thick as we assume. That belief isn't passive. That consciousness isn't neutral. That what you expect shapes what emerges. This isn't religion, it's mechanics. And it appears everywhere. When the disciples fail to perform an act, healing someone, casting something out, calming something down, Jesus doesn't say, you can't do this. He says you could, if not for your unbelief. It's jarring, because it implies they should be able to. They almost can. Something in their perception is blocking it. This is very different from genius, or divine privilege, or spiritual hierarchy. This is like someone trying to explain how to use a part of your mind you've never accessed, but insisting you already have it. What if the gap isn't in ability, but in awareness? And if that's true, you can start to see why the original audiences didn't treat miracles as shocking. They treated them as glimpses of a larger pattern. When you look at the earliest communities, the ones meeting in houses, not cathedrals, they behaved as if miraculous acts were common, not guaranteed, not predictable, but expected, like weather. In the earliest letters, there's barely a trace of disbelief. Instead, you see people frustrated they're not doing them consistently. Advice on how belief influences outcomes. Warnings about ego and spectacle. Encouragement that these signs will follow those who believe. This is the opposite of how modern people approach the topic. Today, miracles are mythical, symbolic, decorative, but then they were considered part of the continuum, a thing humans do when aligned with something larger. That doesn't prove the events were literal. It doesn't prove they happened exactly as written. But it does prove one thing. The early communities didn't think miracles were impossible. Let's pull the three threads together for a moment. Thread 1. Miracles described with simplicity. No theatrics, no mythic flair. Thread 2. Jesus repeatedly insists others will do the same works, directly, plainly. Thread 3. Early followers behave as though the miraculous acts are normal when belief aligns. When you combine these, a sharp image emerges. The story isn't painting Jesus as the lone exception, but as the example of something foundational. Almost like someone demonstrating how the system works, a system we've forgotten how to use. And if the story points to human capacity instead of divine exclusivity, then maybe the strangest part is what happens to your perception when you test the idea yourself. Which brings us to something small, subtle, but surprisingly telling. The moment when you stop thinking about miracles as external acts and start noticing the mechanics of the awareness inside your own perception.